my brothers and sisters. This is Brother West coming back to you again with a word of encouragement. A word to let you know your position as someone who's a believer. I'm here to reaffirm and to readjust or to remind you of the power of God to those who profess Jesus. And if you think about it, the scripture in Romans 1 and 15 through the 17th verse, it mentions the Apostle Paul said, "I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believe." And the thing that you need to know, that the righteousness of God is revealed through your pressure. What's in you and who God is when you profess Christ as the Lord. Once you profess Christ as the Lord, and when you get in troubles and when tests come up against you, but when you don't look at the circumstance, but you look through the eyes of faith. Now, what is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for and evident of things not seen. So faith comes from God. The scripture said that God has given every man a measure of faith. Now, there's two types of faith. There's dead faith and lively faith. Now, dead faith is in that measure that God gives, that gift that God gives, faith, that the scripture talks about. I think it's in the book of Matthew, where this man went to a far country, but he left talents. He gave 1 5, 2 and 1, and told him to earn more money, develop more, grow more. And so when he came back, 2 of them worked, but the one that had one buried his talent. And so, and when the master noticed that, and he saw that, he took what he had, threw him out into outer darkness, but he gave that talent to someone who was working. And so in other words, God is watching the investment that He's put inside the believer. God is watching the faith that He's giving you. And the question is, what are you doing with the faith? Are you sitting on your faith, or are you causing your faith to grow? The scripture says that the tryings, the tribulation, the work of patience, experience, and hope. But it's the trying of your faith. And the righteousness of God is revealed on what's in you, and what God has put in you. It's from faith to faith, as it is written. And faith to faith is one level to the next level. You're growing, you're developing, you're figuring stuff out, you're adjusting. And in the end of that verse, it said, "The just shall live by faith." That means that when you facing situations, and when you have faith and you trust God, regardless of that situation, you're not going to bow down. You're not going to keel over. You're not going to walk away. You're not going to quit, but you're going to trust God. In that time and in that moment where you feel, and your flesh, you feel like you're defeated. Your flesh is hurting you in pain. You're being afflicted. You're being embarrassed and all that for Christ's sake. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. God's glory in you is going to become great, great, and greater. Paul realized that. He said, I'm going to glory in my infirmities. I'm going to glory in the places where I'm weak, because he had asked God to take it away. But then he realized that God wasn't going to take it away, because God said, my grace is sufficient. And so, in other words, when God said, my grace is sufficient, sufficient means what God has given you is more than enough to make it, more than enough to overcome. And so Paul realized and said that I'm going to glory when I'm weak and in my infirmities. That when that happens, when I glory and I magnify God, even though when I feel helpless, that means that God is going to show up. When you are helpless, but when you cry out to Him and when you belong to Him, He's going to show up and He's going to perform. Because the scripture says He's a very present help when you're in trouble. When you're in trouble, He's going to show up. He's going to show up real. He's going to show up strong. He's going to really show up on your behalf. But you got to trust Him. That's all it takes, trust Him. When you trust God, what you're doing, you say, God, I believe you. God, I believe in you. How that is when someone believes in you. How much more are you willing to do when someone says, I believe in you. I believe that you can do it. I believe that you can fix it. And so, and how much greater is God that God would feel that his own chosen one would believe and have the confidence that God can fix it because he can. How much more will he do? And so in closing, the just live by faith, not by a feeling, not by what someone said, not by what's going on in your body, but the just, hear what I'm saying, lives by faith, not by doubt, not by a circumstance. See, cause your destiny, your pathway has already been written. It's already been spoken. It's already been spoken. And so all you got to do is just do your part in blessing him and crying out to him. In every situation, he's going to come in your situation.